Y'all see Forbes over there calling Megan Thee Stallion's song "Hiss" fraudulent, crediting Nicki Minaj for its success. We are going to get into it. This is not going to be my weekly chart analysis. This is an investigative chart analysis on the merit of Megan's numbers. It's Monday. All numbers have came out today. So we're going to compare Hiss versus Bigfoot and see which songs are stable and what will remain stable for the rest of the week. So thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I'm usually doing chart analysis on Nicki Minaj, but this is a special occasion. So chart data has said Hiss by Megan Thee Stallion is now the #1 song in the United States of America this week. Megan joins Nicki Minaj as the only female rappers in history to debut multiple songs at #1 on the Hot 100, so she's finally in good company. Hiss outperformed the final Billboard Hot 100 predictions across all three components. So these are her final numbers: 104,000 sales, 29.2 million streams, and 2.9 million audience in airplay for radio. So his debuts at #1 on this week's digital song sales chart with almost 95,000 copies sold. So here's a moment of transparency. It says 95,000 right here, and we know that this is a US number alone, but here it says 104,000 sales. I'm not sure, but this is also for the Hot 100. So I'm not sure what the discrepancy is there, but that's about, isn't that about like 9,000 sales discrepancy? Not really sure, but this is my thing. When has Megan ever sold this much in her life? I'm going to show you guys Megan's chart history and how it compares to his, which is what Meg would do organically, and why there's so much to talk about behind these numbers, because her fan base is not as big as the Barbz. So how are they spending this much money? This beats Super Freaky Girl's first week sales of 89,000 sold by 6,000, I believe. And so how is she beating that with no fan base? We know that a lot of fan bases teamed up against the Barbz to support this song by buying and streaming it. So that's where the numbers are coming from, along with the general public, who you may find in the comic section of the blogs, who took it upon themselves to buy the song, yet they don't know anything about charts and buying rules and stuff like that. So how did they accomplish this? Not sure, but let's keep going. It earns the biggest sales week of the year. Hiss becomes Megan Thee Stallion's third #1 on the Hot 100, and congratulations to Meg. Regardless, she has a #1. Here are all her hits on the Hot 100 that she got a #1 for: the Savage remix with Beyonce, WAP with Cardi, and Hiss. Notice that all these other songs have been features or collaborations. Meg officially earns the biggest pure sales week for a solo female rap song this decade with Hiss. So remember, I just said she beat Super Freaky Girl that had 89,000. She had 95,000. Megan Thee Stallion's Hiss debuts with the biggest US unit sales week for any song in 2024 so far, with nearly 300K sold. So in about 200K units, she will be eligible for gold status. But it's so funny to me how we just saw Ariana Grande release a couple weeks ago, and child, I don't even think Nicki Minaj could beat Ariana Grande numbers. So how is Megan Thee Stallion beating Ariana Grande, having the biggest sales units week for a song released thus far, regardless of genre? It's too much going on behind the scenes. So here's the list of the biggest song debuts for sales in 2024 thus far. She's at #1 with his 290,000. Look at Ariana Grande at #2, 50,000 below her at 240K. Let's go back down to Bigfoot. Let's talk about Bigfoot debuting at #8 with 110,000 sold. Okay. Next, Bigfoot debuts at #3 on the digital song sales chart with over 35,000 copies sold. And this is pure sales, okay? So Megan had 95, we had 35K. Now, remember, when we look at Bigfoot sales and numbers, Nicki released it on Sunday night, so it only had 4 days of tracking. She had a full week. So let's not do too much on the sales. Now, because the Barbz were buying Bigfoot and we really wanted to have like some steam and like, sort of like, get back in this war, we also started buying Everybody, which is another album track from Nicki Minaj's 5th studio album, Pink Friday 2, and it returned to the top 10 on this week's digital song sales chart at #9, up 575%. Okay, the Barbz was buying last week, but that's not nothing normal, right? We always buying. So here is the final number for Bigfoot. It debuts at #23 on the Billboard Hot 100 this week. And so why is this important? It is another top 40 entry for Nicki Minaj. It becomes her 148th entry on the Hot 100 in total. Nicki has 148 songs that have debuted on the chart. So congratulations to the queen. And of course, I'll have a more in-depth chart analysis on her later on this week. Now, Megan Thee Stallion joins Lauryn Hill and Nicki Minaj as the only female rappers to debut at number one on the Hot 100 with a solo song. Female rappers with the most number one hits in Hot 100 history. Cardi B remains at number one with five, then Nicki Minaj at number three, and Megan Thee Stallion at number three as well. They are now tied for the most hits on the Hot 100, or the most hits at number one. So his debuts at number one. Okay, this is where they got me, y'all. This is where I got gagged. I was not expecting this. His debuts at number one on this week's Billboard Global 200 singles chart. How? When the Barb's fan base is more international than Megan's. Megan doesn't have that much of a international appeal, and this is the real impact right here of Nicki Minaj. Let's get into it. So it debuts at number one on this week's Billboard Global Singles Chart, and she becomes the first female rapper to debut at number one on the Billboard's Global 200 with a solo song. So for those of you who don't be studying the charts like that, yes, there's a Hot 100, but there's a Billboard Global 200 chart with the 200 top songs around the world. And so Megan is at number one. How could she even go number one before even Cardi? And I wouldn't even say she deserves it either, but Nicki definitely deserves it with the amount of international fans that we do have in our fan base. And so this just speaks to Nicki Minaj's impact. Megan would not have gotten these numbers if it wasn't for Nicki. But let's keep going, because here it is, the article from Forbes calling out his Help by Nicki Minaj feud and multiple versions, which a lot of other artists do. So here it says Megan Thee Stallion's latest single, Hiss, debuted atop the Billboard Hot 100, likely boosted by a feud the track sparked after Nicki Minaj apparently interpreted the song to be a shot at her, prompting a social media rant and diss track Bigfoot from Nicki Minaj. Now, here is where Nicki Minaj and I disagree. I mean, I understand what Nicki was doing, but I believe that had she not said anything, Megan would not have these type of numbers. But at the same time, Nicki was also showing what her impact truly is and giving Megan all these numbers, because she knows that Megan will never chart this high again. She will never go number one again, especially by herself. So look at how Megan is actually doing on the charts. It's been a couple of days since the first week tracking has been done. Megan is falling drastically. Look at the Spotify chart: 19 spots, 9 spots on 122. Look at YouTube, falling, right? iTunes, falling. Everywhere, just falling, unstable, because your fan base doesn't buy. And this represents how your fan base was only buying just to get back at Nicki. But here is a Wikipedia screenshot. I'm going to look at previous singles from Megan and how they did. Actually, let's look at Hot Girl Summer with Nicki Minaj. It peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100, number 7. Here are some international charts. Look at the numbers here. It's certified 2 times platinum for a non-album single featuring Nicki. All right, that's featuring Nicki Minaj. Let's go back down to things that don't have Nicki on it. That-ish peaked at number 16. Let's see, Sweetest Pie, number 15, that had Dua Lipa on it. Plan B, number 29. Pressurelicious, 55. Her, 62. Ungrateful, 82. Is that all I had? That's all I had. But this shows you where I believe that Megan would have debuted had Nicki not said anything. She usually debuts in the 60s, 50s, and even she would have had buzz from the song because of her coming at Nicki and Drake and insert anybody else you want. But she would not have went higher than number 30. I guarantee you. And that is why I'm like, Nicki, please be quiet, okay? But hey, Nicki wanted to show her impact. Now, here is the predictions for next week. So Megan is already predicted to fall 8 spots to number 9 in the top 10 with a decrease of 50%. It shows you how people were only streaming her to get her number one, and they literally don't care anymore. No shade, literally no shade. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Of course, let's also be reminded that Nicki Minaj did these numbers with a short time span, 3 days, 4 days, but also with a troll song, a joke song, if that's what you want to call it. And you know the other get back that Nicki was doing, that now when every time Megan looks at her numbers, she always has to look at Nicki Minaj on the same screen, on the same list with her, trailing right below her. You could not do this without me. And this is a reminder, when you look at the screenshot right here, Megan is number 1, but Nicki is right there at number 8. Every time you look at this list and look at your accomplishments, you got to see me right behind you. And that's how I'm taunting you. But yeah, y'all, let me know how you guys feel about this. Which song do you guys think is going to remain stable in the next week, more stable, Bigfoot or Hiss? Congratulations to both ladies. But this has just been another episode of my chart analysis. We did something different this week, but we're on the Fem Rap Politics playlist. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. And if you learned something, let me know. Please like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.